So after 43 days, the Donald Trump shutdown ends, and so now we're back to full-time gaslighting the American people. And so what's up first? What's going on with the $2,000 stimulus check from the tariffs? Well, have a listen to this.
How realistic are these $2,000 tariff checks that the president wants to send to all Americans? Is that actually going to happen?
Well, it's something that will require legislation. But if you look at how much tariff revenue has been coming in, then there would actually be enough room to cover those checks and not go into the rest of the budget. So yeah, there would be enough money to pay for the $2,000 checks.
So are you actually actively working with Congress to try to make that happen?
And we're actively studying the matter and getting the numbers straight so the president has all the choices he needs to decide what to do.
They're actively studying it, so maybe it is on the table. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't count on it. There's two ways you could look at it. So one would be maybe right before midterms, they need a way to boost, votes, these kind of things, get some good favor with the American people. They'll start printing those checks, right? Just start pumping money out of thin air. Theoretically, they could do it, right? The other way that they could play this is like, hey, we really wanted to give you the checks. We're writing them out. Trump was signing them. But then the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs, and now we got no money, and so it's not our fault. It's Supreme Court's fault. So I'll let you guys be the judge of whether or not you think the 2,000 checks are in the mail. But that's what they were saying today. And this sort of conversation we're going to be having in this video is all about money. Check this out. This is also talking about the 50-year mortgage. Hassett again, one of Trump's dudes.
One of the ideas is to make a 50-year mortgage. Put it on screen here. Over 30 years, you pay X amount of dollars in blue. Over 50 years, it shoots up quite a bit. Is this a solid financial idea for the consumer, owning that home?
Well, first, the 50-year mortgage is just one of many, many policies that are currently being studied. We're going to be making recommendations to the president about the whole suite of housing policies sometime in the next few weeks to months. And the 50-year mortgage is something that's on the table to be thought about. The argument for it is that it would really lower the monthly payment. And as you know, that there's a crisis in first-time home buying. And so that lower monthly payment would maybe help younger people get into homes who right now feel they can't afford them. The downside is that it would take longer to build equity in the home. And so it's one of those things that needs to be studied carefully.
Sure enough.
So I guess the shutdown is ending, and Hassett has said it a couple times in a row, they're going to study the 2,000 checks that are going out to you, right? The tariff money. And now I guess we're studying 50-year mortgages. They're busy studying. On top of that, they're going to be talking about how can we transfer money quicker, right? Because I guess we're all rich with this $2,000 checks and 50-year mortgages. We're all going to be just flush with cash. Wouldn't you like to transfer this money late at night when you're sitting around drinking wine? Seriously, this is Trump, Eric Trump that is. Have a listen to what he has to say about that.
There's no reason at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, I shouldn't be able to send out a swift wire transfer. Right now you can't. I try and make a transfer every single week, and you're trying to push before the 5 o'clock deadline to either receive money or to get it out. How is that modern day finance? You can send $500 million worth of Bitcoin on a Sunday night at 11 p.m. while having a glass of wine with your wife for virtually zero fees. How is the system this lethargic? Why does it take you 120 days to get go through Know Your Customer with your bank if you want to get a home mortgage? It doesn't make any sense. Cryptocurrency is going to fix every single one of these issues, and Bitcoin is digital gold. Bitcoin is going to be one of the greatest stores of value we've ever seen, ever.
Ever. Okay, so that's Trump's kid, and basically he's out there pumping crypto. And just put this all together. So this is what's on his mind. He's like, there's so many times I'm late at night, I'm drinking wine, I'm hanging out, and we really need to make that $500 million transfer. We got to do that. And who knows which way the money's going. it's the Trump kids, whatever. We're talking about bribes and laundering. Who knows? You can ask them. Are we sending money to Argentina through crypto? Who knows? But this is the conversations that they're having. They're like, for the rest of you, hey, maybe we'll send you $2,000 checks in the mail. Maybe you'll have to borrow money from us for 50 years. But when it comes to when we want to send money late at night, 11 p.m., drinking wine, do whatever transaction we want to do, man, we should be able to do it really quick. And why would we want things to be slow? Why would we want regulators to make sure we're not laundering anything? I don't want any cops. I want to send money quickly at night, right? And 11 o'clock's the best time. And I don't know why at this point why he didn't just say, hey, sometimes I make these back alley deals at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, you might as well just say it. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And I have to point all this stuff out to you because this is the lunacy that we see on a nonstop basis in U.S. news. And I think because if you're sort of to say it, like surrounded by this stuff, you think it's normal. I'm telling you guys, this stuff's not normal. And I want to hear from people from around the world who are not in USA. Just imagine if, just think about this. You had a politician's kid talking about profiting all the time on various businesses and stuff like that, right? A politician's kid, let alone a politician, is a whole other issue. But I mean, isn't this insane? Talking about transferring money, etc. And then they're trying to tell you you're rich all the time. I guess today we're getting rich. This is the trade reps, right? They're saying President Trump's leadership is helping to forge a new age of partnership, prosperity across the Western Hemisphere. I guess we're making deals. They say joint statements with El Salvador, Argentina, and Ecuador and Guatemala. And according to Trump, this is the golden age of, golden age of trade with our new, our Western Hemisphere partners. So it's laughable and ridiculous at the same time. If we were sending prisoners to El Salvador, Argentina, we were sending a bunch of money. And I don't know if this is all about oil or whatever, but you can ask Trump on that stuff. That's what we're talking about. And then you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who sometimes sounds reasonable, other times sounds more crazy, which I'll get into. But listen to what she has to say now that we're reopened.
And so gaslighting the people and trying to tell them that prices have come down is not helping. It's actually infuriating people because people know what they're paying at the grocery store. They know what they're paying for their kids' clothes and school supplies. They know what they're paying for their electricity bills. And so that approach does not work. We need compassion and show that we care about the American people and show that we are in the trenches with them on what they're going through. That's first and foremost. You don't gaslight them, you don't lecture them, and you don't deny what's happening.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it's actually kind of funny because if you've been following the Republican Party for years now, and I think it started with Newt Gingrich. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't he the one who started talking about the whole compassionate conservative thing? Because basically what they had to do, they had to literally go on TV and say, hey guys, we actually care about real people. No, seriously, we actually care about real people. Because you could see in their policies they didn't care about real people. And then when Marjorie Taylor Greene basically is saying, us Republicans have to act like we understand what your problems are, because clearly they don't. And you got Trump every day telling you that everything's great and the prices are going down. She's really split from her party, but she still has some Republican stuff that she's going to try to push, which I'll go through in a minute. But I just wanted to show you guys sort of what's going on. Yes, costs are up. You guys know this stuff. This is a couple that actually talks about this recently regarding insurance. Listen to this.
How much did your premium increase in the notice that you got for your insurance?
It went from $400 that we're paying right now to $1,975 for the same policy.
So what are you going to do,
Yep,
Donna,
that's
now
exactly
that you
what
see
happened.
that insane increase? I mean, that is astronomical. What are you going to do now?
I mean, I've cut off subscriptions we don't need. I've tried to figure out how to move money around. There's absolutely no way. We just don't make enough. My business is small, and it hasn't been contributing as much lately because doctors and so forth are impacted as well. I have a medical.
So everyone's struggling. I just want to show you guys the juxtaposition, right? While you have Eric Trump talking about how the biggest problem is why can't I send, or someone send me, or whatever, we'll call it transaction. Why can't we send 500 million at 11 o'clock while drinking wine? Like that's what Trump are concerned about. Those people are concerned about. Whereas regular Americans are like, hey, my health insurance have gone up insane amounts. And it's crazy, the disconnect. And then you tune the Trump people and they just keep telling you all getting rich. I guess we're making all these deals and I guess you're all rich, right? I just shake my head. And then you listen to Hassett, as we talked about unemployment in the last video. Listen to what he has to say about it now.
There's basically two surveys that they make. They have something called the payroll survey and then the household survey. And the payroll survey is a bunch of firms, mailing in their records. And, firms that forgot to mail in their records because of the shutdown, they could mail them in retroactively. But the household survey is a survey where people just sort of call people up and say, how are you doing today? And the household survey wasn't conducted in October. So we're going to get half the employment report. We'll get the jobs part, but we won't get the unemployment rate. And that'll just be for 1 month. But yeah, it is true that we probably will maybe be able to concoct something, but we'll never actually know for sure what the unemployment rate was in October. Right. Well.
So as they say, maybe they're going to concoct something, but we'll never know for sure. And their strategy, this is the Republicans then, is, okay, how about we change gears and we'll actually talk about people are struggling, and then we have all these tools on the table, and then they just make up crap about 50-year mortgage, $2,000 checks or whatever. And then you'll have other ones that are basically going to play the racist card. And I'll be frank with you about this stuff. Because listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene on her plan. And I just want you to listen to a little bit together, but I want you to understand, like, does this feel like it solves the problem in America? And let's talk about, honestly, listen to what she has to say. So it's regarding immigration.
My dear fellow Americans, I'm introducing a bill to completely eliminate the H-1B visa program, which has been riddled with fraud and abuse and has been displacing American workers for decades. There will only be one exemption in my bill, and it will allow for a $10,000 per year cap on visas issued to medical professionals like doctors and nurses who provide life-saving care to Americans. However, even this $10,000 per year cap will be phased out over 10 years to allow us time to build our own pipeline of American doctors and physicians. My bill will also restore the original intent of the visa, for it to be temporary. These visas were intended to fulfill a specialty occupational need at a given time. People should not be allowed to come and live here forever. We thank them for their expertise, but we also wish them well so they may return to their home country.
And that's it right there. I just wanted you to listen to a little bit of that, right? And I understand this is a very, very sensitive topic in USA. You have a lot of people out there saying, but Chris, you're so dumb. We don't need any immigrants at all. USA can do it all by himself, right? All by themselves, however you want to put it. And in fact, if anyone ever comes to USA, you can give us money, you can train us how to do something, but then get the heck out, go back to your own country. And they literally hear Marjorie Taylor Greene, say this for herself. And this is really problematic as a country of immigrants, talking about the USA. I can get really upset about this. I've got the point with these people talking about the Republicans or whatever. It's just, you just kind of expect it. And it's even getting worse. I won't say a name, but they'll say there's a right-wing dude that they're all fighting over whether or not they should be close to him or not. And he's basically spouting out really racist stuff. There's various degrees of racism and things, but it's sad that you see America, go down this route. And I think this culture's always been there, right? Just a subset of population, what percentage, anyone's guess, of this basically, they want to isolate themselves. I'll put it that way.
Also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to...
I get what they're saying. I'm not stupid. But most people don't want to have honest conversations about these things. And so my point of view on this stuff is if you fund education and actually do invest in your own people and invest in a way that can compete with other countries, then you won't have these conversations of like, well, how about this? We just lock the door and we just, let our people do the jobs. But like, what if they're not capable? And I'll leave it at that. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.